Ookie Ward 7 citizens, and thank you so much for having me on this forum today. My name is Marilyn North Pagan. I am from the Treaty 7 First Nations of Piikani, which is about 2.5 hours south of here, situated between Pincher Creek, Fort Macleod. I was born and raised there, and I left out of high school to actually go join the Canadian Armed Forces, and I served there as a frontline medic. Upon my discharge in 2000, I returned back to Calgary, where I pursued my post-secondary education at Mount Royal College back then. Now it's university, and I achieved a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. I went on to write my master's thesis with Athabasca University in Integrated Studies, and that's where I studied work organization leadership, which means my post-secondary is in the structures of systems and how to change those systems. Once we returned back to Calgary after my thesis, I was asked to sit on a Citizens Advisory Committee to City Council, the Calgary Aboriginal Urban Affairs Committee. And during those years, we produced and tabled what is now referred to as the White Goose Flying Report, which is a local version of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So the work has been ongoing, and it's making its ways through the communities, but more work needs to be done within that. In 2017, I was appointed to the Calgary Police Commission, and I've been working with them just until recently, until I've taken my leave of absence. So that's a little bit about myself. What I do bring to this campaign, we structured 3 pillars that we believe are important. These are from the journey that I have taken with the city of Calgary when it comes to the work and to, considering everything that we're going through with the changing global economy and the economic downturn from the pandemic. And one of the pillars that we did identify was the recovery. Calgary is a resilient city. We can and will recover from this pandemic and the changing global economy. But we have to come together to start supporting each other to create those new opportunities moving into the future. This would mean working with Calgarians to support ideas that will bring investment from other levels of government. As a municipal leader, we still have that ability to advocate to the province for these kind of initiatives that we need in Calgary. We need to support the entrepreneurship of Calgarians through local business, through supporting local businesses, both established and new, to bring vibrancy back to our communities in our city. We also want to, bring attention to, in the recovery, what is called the K-shaped recovery. And that is a recovery that's aimed at just a specific group of people. So we did actually consider this. And this means that, if we're looking at avoiding this K-shaped recovery, we have to look at supporting those that are less fortunate than us, and to be able to see the gaps within the system which do not benefit them. So we need to work with the province to ensure stable funding and services for our most vulnerable citizens. And this would mean enhancing and removing barriers to services and providing stable, quality, affordable housing options for all Calgarians. We should be investing in services that Calgarians rely on, such as fare-free transit and the DOPE team. Those are just a couple of the examples that we tabled. We also need to ensure that the Green Line gets built, but does benefit Ward 7 citizens. And with that, one of the largest frustrations that I have heard doing door knocking in Ward 7 is the frustration that there is no communication with the Ward 7 councillor and the office there when it comes to community engagement. With this, we need to start reaching out to the community, and this is where we need to start renewing our relationships with the community associations and making them central for these messagings. So it's very important to actually engage with the communities before you go and you make decisions on their behalf. We should be making decisions with the community and not for the community. So the engagement process, and even the city has said this, there are some flaws in it. And I found this through my experience with the Calgary Police Commission. So what are we going to do to start addressing those gaps within the engagement with the community? The other pillar that I do talk about is resilience. We must ensure the decisions that we make today keep in mind future generations. enforcing the triple bottom line in all council decision making for the economic, environmental, and social well-being of all Calgarians. Saving Calgarians money and growing our economy and protecting our children's future by focusing on building an environmentally sustainable future, we are doing all three. So with that, we look at sustainable taxation and service funding. We should be investing in the incredible communities of Ward 7, not subsidizing growth at the edge of the city, which means sprawl is not the answer. But if we are going to be looking at increasing our communities within Ward 7, we better be engaging with them to see what their needs and wants are and their issues. And I believe that's been overlooked that's what I'm hearing at the doors anyway. We need sustainable and resilient city is a green city, and that's the bottom line. So we need to take advantage of the federal investment to ensure that we are making our homes, our infrastructure, and our transportation systems, we need to make those efficient. And those are resilient to climate impact events. So we also need to be supporting Calgarians, homeowners, and businesses in the transition towards a more environmentally friendly, sustainable way of living. My third pillar is one that is very close to me, and that's the reconciliation piece. To know where we are going, we must remember where we have been. Reconciliation is about restoring and establishing a new relationship. City Hall can and should be by the people, for the people, but we need trust to do that, not to us, with us. And with that means that we have to have that engagement piece there. So if I'm elected into City Council on behalf of Ward 7, there will be no difference between my principles as a candidate and my principles as a councillor. I am a principled individual, and I do not expect that to change. This is not to say that I'm not willing to compromise or prone to disagreement, rather that my principles center around values that support sustainable, grassroots decision making. I fundamentally believe that all residents of Ward 7 are treaty people, and that we can learn a lot from each other through ongoing acts of reconciliation. I am inclusive and consolidative in my decision making, and I strive to foster long-term positive relationships with community members. I value equity, and I'm fundamentally anti-racist. I believe we must continue to better understand the experiences of those individuals who do not come from communities that are typically represented in city chambers. Ward 7 citizens, you have an opportunity to form a new relationship with your city. On October 18th, I ask you to join me and vote for recovery, resilience, and reconciliation. Thank you.